Today's show is brought to you by Audible.com. You can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial by heading over to audibletrial.com/WTS Sports Quiz. I currently am working my way through the Dan Brown book Inferno. That's just one of the many 180,000 titles that you can listen on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or the MP3 player. That's audibletrial.com/WTS Sports Quiz. audibletrial.com/WTS Sports Quiz.
Broadcasting from the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this is What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe, the man who sees that it's clearly a rebuilding year for the Electoral College. And now, here's the host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. America, what a time to be alive. The Cubs won the World Series, Donald Trump is president, the U.S. lost to Mexico in soccer, and people still hate the red Starbucks cups. But, thankfully, one thing is still consistent. The Cleveland Browns still suck. If you would like to help change sports history, though, why don't you come on and be a contestant on our show by visiting our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, and hit the Become a Contestant button on the homepage today.
You can also find the show on demand on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, and the Sports Podcasting Network.
All right, let's meet our panelist this week. First up, he is a writer for Titletown Sound Off and a co-host of the Titletown Sound Packers podcast. It's James Korsmo.
Hey, folks, how's it going?
Doing well, James. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, from the Big 920 WOKY in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a public address announcer for the Marquette University and Lakeshore Chinooks. Please welcome Dan Pfeifer.
You just can't keep me away too long, Max.
Thank God you're back, Dan. All is right with the world. And finally, making his debut on the panel this week, he is the public address announcer for the Wisconsin Rapids Raptors, an engineer at Fox Sports, and a longtime Buffalo sports hopeful. Please welcome Tanner Burke to the program.
Long-time listener, first-time panelist. Good to be here.
Glad to have you on the show, Tanner. We are excited. Welcome to you. How do you feel ahead of your very first What's the Score experience?
Aside from the fact that I need to change my pants already, I'm nervous. I got cold feet.
Why is that?
Dan's very threatening.
He is. He's tied for first in our panelist leaderboard, so there's a lot of pressure, I guess. A lot of greatness to your left, and James is just recently stepped into the pool, so you can maybe cling to him to keep you afloat.
Plenty of room on my float, buddy. Bring it on.
It's the first time I've ever been called both great and threatening in the same sentence. Either one, actually.
Well, it's time to get this show on the road with our first contestant game. Joining us on the phone to play Quotable Context is Grant Coppersmith. Welcome to the show, Grant.
All right, Grant, you're going to be playing our first game called Quotable Context. Game Master Scheibe will read you 5 quotes from this past week's news, and you must correctly identify the context of each quote. Do that at least 3 times, and you will win a What's the Score prize. If you do get stuck on a question, you are allowed to ask one of our 3 panelists for a clue, but only on one question. So make sure you choose wisely. Are you ready to play?
I am ready.
All right, here is your first quote.
We have to give him a chance.
That was Charles Barkley this week telling people to give what newly elected official a chance at his new job?
Is that President-elect Donald Trump?
That is correct, yes. It's amazing when politics come into play how many people in other venues and avenues have an opinion about something. And it's like, save it for the political right now. The sports people, the musicians, everybody's like, this is what I think. It's like, you're purposely not in that, so just go away kind of thing. But Charles Barkley, we know anything he says is just terrible anyway, so I don't think we need to really figure out anything. All right, here is your next quote.
I think anyone can get better as long as you put your mind to it.
That quote coming from which U.S. Olympic gymnast who won the individual all-around gold during the last Olympics? Who was that gymnast?
I think Gabby something.
Can you be more specific?
Can I get? I guess I'll use my hint. I have to go with Dan Pfeifer.
Okay, Dan Pfeifer. How can you help Grant?
If you would take some of the letters of this name and rearrange them a little bit, and actually keep them in order, you would get Smiles. I think that's
Gabby, Smiles is her last name.
It's not
But
her.
it's not Gabby.
So what do you have for an answer
Gabby.
for us then? It's not Gabby Douglas. No, if that's what you're going for, that
No,
it is.
but it's Miles. Last name is Miles, but I can't remember her first name.
Okay, well we're gonna have to not give it to you, unfortunately. Simone Biles is who we were looking for on that one. But Simone Biles definitely wowing the world with her Olympic performance in the Summer Games this last time around. The Fab Five, I think, is what they were called, something like that for the all-around team.
The final five, because
five.
the all-around will now move to 4 going forward in subsequent Olympics.
I was kind of wondering. I was like, "What's wrong? What happened? Like, is everybody okay?" Like, it wasn't like a game show where, like, "Oh, we made it to the final 5 gymnasts." Like, here we go. Who will get a rose tonight? Will it be Gabby or will it be Simone? I don't know.
I think you were watching The Bachelor, Bax.
It's a very popular thing in the Colburn household. All right, Grant. Here is your next quote.
It was so important to me that I didn't even know it was happening. We're focused on other things here.
And that was what college football coach's response when asked about the outcome of Tuesday's presidential election.
Nick Saban. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Nicely done. Nick Saban, Alabama, I think was the only, well, they were on a bye this week, if I'm not mistaken. They're the only top 4 team that didn't lose. Michigan lost, Washington lost, and now I'm spacing on the other one. Who was the other? Clemson lost as well, too. So all off of field goals. And they say kickers don't matter. How interesting is that? But I'm curious now. That gives other programs opportunities, to, of course, to move back up the standings. Do you guys have anybody that you think is going to move, or is any of them going to actually not even drop that far? I mean, you consider, Michigan, barely lose. I mean, they all lost barely within, a point or two, so it's not like they got blown out by any means.
I think Wisconsin has a good chance of making it into the top 5 eventually. I think that that's not going to...
2-loss Wisconsin team?
The 2 losses, if you look at them, they're not your typical losses. They lost by a touchdown apiece to teams that are already in the top 5.
That is true.
But I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of shakeup. I think that actually... things are going to stay pretty similar to what they are now.
Yeah, I would probably assume so. Ohio State, I'm sure, will find a way to get into the top 4 as well. All right, Grant, here is your next quote.
He comes across as a flaming hypocrite, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in a damn word that he has to say.
That was Stephen A. Smith this week talking about what 49ers player after he decided to not vote in this past election.
That would be Colin Kaepernick.
Yes, that is correct. After the big stink, of course, with the kneeling during the national anthem and all the other things you tried to call out, the one man that America apparently cared about if he voted or not didn't vote. I personally don't care. I don't know if anybody else cares that he didn't vote, considering the arguments he was trying to raise.
It's tough. You can't force somebody to vote, I
You
mean,
can't. No, it's a free country, of course.
He's got a right to vote. He's got a right not to vote.
I guess so. A very interesting situation, of course, but Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers not really doing much on the field, so it's his off-field presence that people care more about. All right, Grant, here is your final quote.
We're like in love. We text all the time.
That was Greg Popovich this week when he was asked how often he still talks to what recently retired NBA player.
That's Kobe Bryant.
No, that is incorrect, unfortunately. Tim Duncan, actually. Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
After 21 seasons with the San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan, apparently he and Greg Popovich are so in love, they just can't get enough of each other. They Snapchat, they tweet, they do all sorts of frolicking things together.
I do think it's worth noting that if Tim Duncan wants this to continue, he should make sure he does not join the media.
Yes, exactly.
Join the media. Greg Popovich doesn't talk to you at all.
Exactly. And if you think about it, maybe he'll be on. But Tim Duncan was never that big of a talker, though, either, even in media. So he's not outspoken like Charles Barkley or some of those other guys that are on the NBA primetime shows or ESPN.
Maybe he spends his time texting back and forth with Pop, talking about not talking to the media.
Oh, there you go. I'll be like, look, you should say this, but don't, because you don't talk to the media. Game Master Scheibe, how did Grant do on our quiz?
Grant got 3 out of 5 correct. He's a winner!
Hey, nicely done. Thank you so much for playing, Grant.
Looks like we're heading to our first break now, but when we come back, our panelists will have their first crack at showcasing their knowledge of this week's sports news. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
So So you're sitting at home probably right now thinking, hey, you know what? What's the Score? Sounds like a really fun show. I'm really enjoying my time listening. But you know what you're not doing? You're not signing up to be a contestant, and we want you to do that. Go to our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, and click on the contact form, or fill out the contestant form on the front page of the website, or go visit us on Facebook, What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz, or on Twitter, at WTS Sports Quiz, and click on one of the social media posts that have Be a Contestant. You could win a great prize. You get to talk to Game Master Scheibe. You get to talk to me. You just get to have sports news quiz fun at the highest level. It seems like a pretty obvious thing, so why are you still listening? Go do that right now. Go be a contestant on What's the Score. We need you. But seriously, though, thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm your Game Master, Josh Scheibe. This week, our panelists are James Korsmo, Dan Pfeifer, and Tanner Burke. And now, here's your host at the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. Time now for our panelists to showcase their knowledge about this past week's sports news. James, we will start with you. The Atlanta Braves got a big addition this week after they signed what longtime MLB player?
Oh, boy. You know, he hit a home run last year with the Mets, and it made me happy.
Indeed.
Because I've been a large man my entire life. Well, except when I was a large boy, I guess. And watching him hit it was amazing. It gave me hope. And,
Indeed. There's a chance.
And I'm completely drawing a blank on his name now.
I was going to say, I was like, we've gotten this far.
I'm stalling for time here, and I'm failing miserably.
So you don't know his name? What you're telling me?
I can't remember right now, no.
You can ask for a hint.
I want a hint.
Okay, there you go. His last name is something that men usually put on as a fragrance.
Oh, yeah, Bartolo Colon.
There it is, yes.
I was inspired by that. I think we should nominate Bartolo Colon for president in 2020. Gave him hope. Things that couldn't be accomplished. My goodness.
Someone's got to run against Kanye in 2020. That's the thing right now, at least. But yes, Colon signed a one-year, $12.5 million deal. He is 43 years old. He is a pitcher. He's the second 40-year-old in the Braves pitching staff going into 2017. I guess baseball is one of those sports where age is just a number. You can play as long as you're healthy and can still throw the ball, especially if you're a pitcher, I guess above 85 to that 95-mile-an-hour mark, I think you're fine. But it seems a little odd to be paying that much money for 1 year for Bartolo Colon. No?
But he's fun to watch.
Well, but is he worth $12.5 million?
They want seats. It's a brand new stadium. They got to put somebody in there.
I was going to
He's
say
going to take a couple seats, I think, if he's in there.
He's going to take. He'd fill a couple seats. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, some of that money is going to go into the renovations to the stadium plan. So that anyhow,
concessions.
Yeah, the concession stand.
Dan, the next one's for you. HBO announced this week that they'll be canceling what sports show on their network?
Ooh, it's the sports show hosted by Bill Simmons. I just hope I get the day of the week right because, like most other folks, I can't say that I watch the show regularly. I believe it was called Any Given Wednesday?
Yes, that is correct. Any Given Wednesday. In a statement last Friday, HBO said that they are closing the show. November 9th was the final day, and HBO and Simmons mutually agreed to part ways at the end of the series. It just never really gained a lot of traction. It was kind of that interview style for Bill Simmons, but after he kind of stopped being a part of ESPN, he just never really got back onto the ropes. And HBO is not exactly a sports channel. It's different if it had been like Fox Sports 1 or something like that.
Very popular show with the Addams family, but not so much with the rest of America.
Exactly. Tanner, question over for you now. It wasn't the normal 2-0 Friday night as the U.S. soccer team took on what familiar foe in Columbus, Ohio?
What is Mexico?
This isn't Jeopardy. Want to try it again? It's your first time. We got to swash the bugs while we can.
All right, Mexico.
Yes, there you go.
National team.
Yes, Mexico. Mexico won 2-1 on an 88th minute goal from Rafa Marquez. It's the first time Mexico has won in Columbus, Ohio in 9 games as well. People were yelling at Jurgen Klinsmann for tinkering with the lineup, and Tim Howard also got hurt as well, so they had to replace the goalkeeper, and just kind of leaves it kind of wide open for the U.S. going forward. But it's not a crucial loss because there's still plenty of time in the qualifying group, of course.
Well, we're heading to a break, but when we come back, our second contestant will play a very yummy game. We'll show you what we mean in just a few minutes when we come back on What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. What's the Score would like to take this time to thank one of our partners, Vavel USA, the international online sports newspaper, for their support. Head over to vavel.com/en-US today as they provide professional reporting on all major sports in the USA. Follow them on Twitter at Vavel_USA and go like their Facebook page for prime access to the ultimate source for sports coverage on the web. We here at What's the Score are proud to partner with a terrific organization like Vavel USA.
Well, hey, everybody, this is Baxter. I just want to take a quick minute to point something out. We've been on the air for almost a year. It's amazing how long this show has actually been going on with all the other stuff that we have going on in our lives. But Game Master Shabby and I have worked really hard, and we are thrilled to continue to be on the air. But there's one thing that we haven't done a lot of so far. We haven't done a lot of live shows. So if you're sitting at home right now thinking to yourself, I really would like a great sports news trivia quiz show to come and do a live event at my church, at my fair, at my restaurant, at whatever, why not contact us? We'd love to come out and do it. Send us an email, wtsportsquiz@gmail.com, or visit the contact form on our website, wtsportsquiz.com. We'd love to chat with you and figure out if we can't come and do some crazy sports news trivia fun with you. All right, enough of this. Let's get back to the action. Game Master Scheibe, take it away.
Hello all and welcome back to the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master. We have a fantastic panel here today. It's Dan Pfeifer, Tanner Burke, and James Korsmo, and they'll have the opportunity to show their prowess in just a little bit. Before that, though, here's the host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Coming up, we put our panelists to the test in our Name 5 Panelist Showdown. If you would like to play our games on the air, why not visit our website, wtsportsquiz.com, and sign up to play a game today.
Playing our next game, called Food for Thought, is Kyle Tate. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thanks, guys. Kyle, I appreciate you having me.
Kyle, we're excited to have you on the show. As you probably know, the sports world is full of many funny terms that have food-related meanings to describe a happening during a game.
In this game, we'll ask you 5 questions about food terms in sports. Answer at least 3 correctly, and you'll win a What's the Score prize. If you get stuck, you can ask one of our panelists for a hint, but on only one question, so make sure you choose wisely. Are you ready to play?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
All right, here is your first question. In soccer, a move where you dribble through an opponent's legs is called what? A nutmeg, B, a cinnamon stick, or C, oversalting?
A.
A nutmeg? Yes, that is correct.
The back of a soccer net is sometimes referred to as what? Is it A, banana satchel, B, point sack, or C, onion bag?
I'm going to say C, onion bag.
Yes, that is correct. 2 for 2. I like it. All right, here is your next one, Kyle. This is a term for someone who cannot catch a ball. Also, this would be a collection of delicious candy bars that are not sponsors of this show, we promise. Is it A, Baby Ruth's, B, Butterfingers, or C, Whoppers?
B, Butterfingers.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, I have an issue with this. Whoppers are not candy bars; they are small candy objects.
They're candy as a whole, I guess.
And therefore not the correct answer.
But if if either 3 of those wanted to sponsor the show, we would not say no. Stump the Scheibe brought to you by Whoppers. All right, here is your next one, Kyle.
In the game of cricket, this is a term used to liken a poor bowler to a clown. Is it A, a pie thrower, B, wearing the oversized shoes, or C, a red nose wearing fool?
A pie thrower.
Yes, that is correct.
I don't know how I knew that.
I don't know how you knew that either, but you did. That's all that matters. All right, here's your final one. Let's see if we can go for perfect, Kyle. A player who is flashy and full of themselves is often referred to as A, Dan Pfeifer. I'm sorry, A, a hot dog, B, stir-fried, or C, toast.
A hot dog.
Yes, that is correct. Game Master Scheibe, how did Kyle do on our quiz?
Kyle got 5 out of 5 correct. He's a winner.
Hey, nicely done. Thank you so much for playing, Kyle. We appreciate it. All right, panel, some more questions for you. Dan, we'll start with you. ESPN announced this week that they will have a 30 for 30 special coming out soon about what famous folded league?
They've already had one about the USFL. This one will be about He Hate Me and the XFL.
Yes, that is correct. It'll be coming out 3 days before Super Bowl 51. ESPN Films will premiere the 30 for 30 documentary, This Was the XFL, directed by Charlie Erbosol, apparently. I don't know. It's going to be a very candid and fascinating sort of conversation and documentary. I never watched the XFL. I was too young, and my parents were like, yeah, no, not happening. Did any of you three ever watch the XFL? What was the draw of it? Or what did people...
Well, there was no draw. That's why it folded after week 2.
Well,
It was a different league. I mean, the rules were different. It was promoted by Vince McMahon, who clearly is one of the best promoters.
Should have been great then.
It should have been. However, there were no folding chairs or salt thrown in the eyes or anything like that. There was a lot of showmanship, but the product was just bad.
Were you allowed to hold?
You were allowed to pretty much do anything you wanted.
Well, did they know what a catch was?
Better than the NFL.
Then how did that league fold? That's my question, I guess. If you can do those two things right there, that alone. But a very interesting documentary that I'm sure many folks will be wanting to take a look at.
All right, Tanner, the next one's for you. Jonnu Smith of FIU saw his college football career come to a close this week after what happened to him?
So bad.
Oh, man. This is... do we get hints as well?
Get a hint, yes. I want to hear your hint if you've got one.
Like
Game
a mulligan?
Master
I don't have one.
You don't have one? I would say... well, he's no longer going to be able to play college football because... I don't know what the best way is to give a hint on this. It involved his girlfriend pouring something on him.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say... his girlfriend sicked a bunch of wild wolverines on him, and he has only 4 toes remaining, something like that, along those lines.
You were so close. So
close.
Was
nearly
I?
close. No, not at all. His pregnant girlfriend poured boiling water on his head during the middle of an argument. So
That was
if
my next guess.
you ever want to stop an argument, pour boiling water on your opponent's head, and you will probably kill them. No,
Please don't do that. What's the Score does not endorse
we
that
do not
kind of behavior.
endorse, pouring boiling water. Smith was actually a very promising NFL tight end prospect going forward, but he will never play college football again and might not get to play in the NFL either because of having scalding water poured on the top of his head. I don't know how you got that close with a hot water pan. You're like, there you go. It's like even if you throw it, you can kind of dodge.
You'd think you'd see it coming.
I think so. Maybe. I don't know. All right, James, last question here this round goes to you. A former NBA player came out this week saying that he believes that he is the biggest bust in NBA history. Who is that man?
Growing up in Portland, Oregon, as I did, I've kept the tabs on this guy after the Blazers drafted him, and he summarily tanked his whole entire career. Greg Oden.
Yes, that is correct. Drafted first overall back in 2007 by the Trailblazers, but the injuries just continued to just wreck him and forced him out at the age of just 28 as a whole. He played in China last year, but he just couldn't stay healthy long enough, and it's like a lot of microfractures and a lot of these other things that just sound painful. But the guy was 7 feet tall. I mean, if you really expect to stay in good physical condition, it's next to impossible, I feel like. You're just way too tall. It's better to be short and
longer the bone, the longer the chances of hurting it. I don't know.
I think that's how
I'm not
works.
a bone doctor.
We don't have any, boneontologists or whatever
I'm
they're
not
called.
a scientist.
Scientists? You just play one on TV?
Just hoping
Sometimes.
that quote doesn't get taken out of context.
There you go. There you go.
Well, it's time for another break. That was not an intentional pun, by the way. But don't worry.
I was like, what's going on? Oh, got it.
We'll be right back, and we'll have another round of questions for our panelists. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
Hey guys, this is Baxter. I want to take a quick minute to let you know that we've changed a couple of things here at What's the Score. The show will no longer be broadcast live on Sunday afternoon or evenings anymore. Instead, you can find the show every Monday morning on demand, right at your fingertips at 8 a.m. Central Time. Go and download it on iTunes, visit us on Spreaker.com, or go to our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, to get the most recent show and past shows as well. It's the best way to keep in touch with everything that What's the Score is doing. So once again, no more live shows, but go and download it, iTunes, Spreaker.com, and What's the Score, WTSSportsQuiz.com.
James Korsmo of TitletownSoundoff.com here with the man they call Bobo.
Howdy.
And we want to tell you a bit about our podcast, Titletown Sound.
We're fans of the Green Bay Packers, as I'm sure many of you are, and we know there are plenty of opinions out there, but we think we give you some unique takes that vary between the level-headed and sensible, all the way to the entertainingly absurd.
That's our specialty, the entertainingly absurd.
Sure is. We've got other hosts to talk sensible-like.
So the website is Titletown Sound Off, and the podcast is Titletown Sound?
That's right.
So the podcast just leaves off the off.
Yes.
So fans of the Packers should go in to TitletownSoundoff.com to get into the podcast.
Exactly.
That's a lot of prepositions.
Sure is, James. It sure is. Now back to two of my favorite prepositions on the interwebs, Baxter and Josh.
Those are nouns.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. We're broadcasting from the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe, and we're playing this week with Tanner Burke, James Korsmo, and Dan Pfeifer. And here once again is the host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. We've had a great show so far. A reminder for you to check out our upcoming themed episode. Next week, we will be doing a Thanksgiving episode, so it'll be a lot of fun. You will not want to miss it. And then our final episode of the month will be a best of What's the Score. So some good action coming your way, and the very best of Dan Pfeifer as well. So you will not want to miss it.
There is such a thing?
We've thought about doing just the best of Dan Pfeifer on What's the Score. You've been on enough times that we could probably put together. We haven't referenced the Great Pfeifini in a long time, so we should bring that back for those newer listeners. Like, what's the Great Pfeifini?
It's kind of like a long-standing inside joke.
It's a
of a
myth.
person,
It's
so,
a legend that only Wikipedia knows about. Anyway, it is time for a segment we like to call Stump the Scheibe. The way it works is I will give Game Master Scheibe two sports facts. One of them is true, one of them is totally wrong, and he must tell me which one of those two facts is the correct one. Are you ready, Game Master Scheibe?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Your first sports fact is China did not win their first medal in the Olympics until 1976. That's your very first one. Your second one, also Olympic related. At the first modern Olympics, winners actually received silver medals, not gold, for finishing first in an event.
You know, I seem to remember hearing or reading about that second one.
Interesting.
So, I'm actually just going to go ahead and say that that is the correct one.
Yeah, well, you would be correct. Yes, nicely done. And actually, China did not win their first medal till 1984, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I was completely thrown off by that, but it was funny, when they hosted the Olympic Games, they won 100 total medals in that one. So they've come a little bit more from that first one, but it's funny, a nation like China taking that long, I feel like, to get to the Olympic stand. But hey, everyone's got their own path to greatness. I mean, look at us, Game Master Scheibe. I believe we have some more panelist questions now, do we not?
We do. It's time for our last slate of questions for our panelists this week. Tanner, the first one's for you.
Of course it is.
You were tracking the progression. Yes, that's how it goes.
LeBron James and Michelle Obama teamed up to crush what popular movement this week?
It wasn't the bowels. Oh, man. What popular movement? Was it... I already used my hint, right?
You can ask for more hints.
Can I ask for more hints? Did I get like a breakfast ball for it being my first day?
Absolutely. I mean, you get a hint per question.
A hint per question?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to use my hint.
Okay, so this is, everybody remembers the other sorts of social media crazes over the last couple of years. This one, the name of it centers around something that you would see in a store that would display clothing.
What is a clothing rack, Baxter?
That is not correct. No, the mannequin challenge.
The mannequin challenge.
Do you know what the mannequin challenge is?
I do. I try and get about 8 hours of it.
I don't know if
night.
I believe you. Dan, you know what the mannequin challenge is.
Yeah.
You're nodding your head like, you're like, of course the mannequin challenge.
Oh, yeah. The clothing rack challenge is when my wife goes to Kohl's.
Like, no, honey, only $400 this week, not $7.
I just picture Michelle Obama and LeBron James just hanging out, just, playing FIFA, and then the two of them they just stop, they freeze up. It's just the two of them, though, just hanging out, mannequinning it up.
Obama might be a little jealous about that. But no, it was the Cavaliers' full team was there for their visit to the White House, as they did for becoming, 2015 NBA champions. And the whole crew was kind of standing in the hallway doing different things, as you do for the mannequin challenge. And Mrs. Obama and LeBron were trying to take a selfie among the group.
It's adorable.
It is. It was very adorable.
It's fantastic.
I know. Has anybody participated in the mannequin challenge yet? I haven't seen anybody that I personally know yet participating in it, but it seems to be a big craze with the sports teams. Like after they win a big game or something, they'll go in the locker room and do all kinds of weird things. And
there have been a few gymnastics ones that have been really cool.
Yeah, I've seen those. Hillary Clinton and her campaign staff did it on the airplane as well too before election night too. I thought that was kind of cool, among other things. All right, moving on. James, question for you. Cassius Marsh is a defensive end for the Seattle Seahawks. He recently had 2 backpacks stolen, a very sad moment. One contained his team-issued iPad, very important. The other contained what magical thing?
What magical thing?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go ahead and hit me with one of them there hints?
Yeah, aside from, Pokemon, this was the other popular trading card game to play that you can actually still compete in championships around the world for.
Is that Magic the Gathering?
Yes, that is correct.
That poor guy.
He had cases of Magic the Gathering cards stolen.
Man,
When you're an NFL player and you can afford, all the special, powerful cards, I guess why not? But I feel like I'd spend my money on other things if I was making several $1 million a year.
I don't know who I feel worse for, him or the guy who took the backpack.
I know. I'd be like, I got an iPad. What did I get? Cards.
Magic cards.
It depends on who you sell it to. Those cards are probably worth more, though, than the iPad.
Bleepity Glork with a special power of 9.
The bleepity glork, huh?
I don't know. Is that a thing? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Is that something he has to cry to his mother about and say, hey, this kid came up, he stole my backpack, took all my Magic cards?
You'd be like, grow up. You're hitting men.
You're a multi-millionaire.
Yes. Why are you still collecting those darn Magic cards?
Take it to Target.
All right, Dan, last one's for you. Aside from the U.S. men's national team losing to Mexico, the team also lost a very important player due to injury during the game. Who was it?
Oh, I will fully admit that I did not watch the match. It was a night that I had some other things going on. Can you hit me with a hint?
Absolutely. Some might call him the Secretary of Defense.
That would be, if we're talking about the individual who had a number of hyperbolic terms given to him when the U.S. was last in the World Cup. Are we talking about Tim Howard?
Yes, we are. Nicely done. We got there eventually. Brad Guzan had to replace him, and as many folks know, obviously led to Mexico winning off of a corner kick that Josie Altidore forgot to mark his man on. But the bigger question, though, is for Colorado, Tim's club team, as they are deep in the MLS playoff race without Tim Howard defending the goal. Things could get tough for them.
We'll say this, though. One of the center backs for Colorado is Axel Højbjerg,
yes,
who is a Marquette University alum, whose name I had the chance to try and pronounce correctly.
I always wondered how you had to say the last name, but Axel Højbjerg?
Yeah, he actually, we consulted with him personally, and he said there is a sound in his last name that is not in the English language. So
as an announcer, you're like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I did my best. Højbjerg was the best way.
Please don't do anything during the game, Axel. I do not want to say your name.
In his last name, there's an S, a J, an O with an umlaut. I think there's a Batman symbol. It's kind of crazy. So.
Well, folks, it's time for me to break up the fun once again. But when we come back, our final contestant will play another one of our new games. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
But I probably should not. I gotta pick you a do to another. I will stay true. I will stay true.
Hey guys, this is Baxter Colburn. Just want to take a quick minute to remind all of you to go check us out on social media. You can go find us on Facebook by searching for What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. And while you're on our Facebook page, why not invite some of your friends to come like our Facebook page as well? You can go and check out all the great recordings that we do, behind-the-scenes pictures. You can see the different videos we do with a lot of our panelists as well, and just get to know What's the Score a little bit better as well. Also, go check us out on Twitter, at WTS Sports Quiz, and at WTS Sports Quiz on Instagram as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the three most powerful things on the social media spectrum right now, and What's the Score is on all of them. Go and check us out today.
Welcome back, everyone. This is What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master. Our Name 5 panelist showdown is coming up. But first, we have a new game called Did You See That? Here to get the game going is your host at the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. Just a reminder to go check out our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com. Find out where Dan Pfeifer and many others rank on our panelist leaderboard. Get to know our staff. And, of course, listen to past shows of What's the Score.
It's time now to welcome in our final contestant. Playing our last game is Tommy Jones. Welcome to the show, Tommy.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good, Tommy. We're thrilled to have you on. This past week of sports was full of a lot of interesting and fun events, whether they were on or off the field. The sports world provides us with some great things that we can't seem to wait for the next event or sports game to take place.
In this game, which we're calling Did You See That?, we'll ask you 6 questions about this past week's sports news that you probably heard about. Answer at least 4 questions correctly, and you'll win a What's the Score prize. If you get stuck, you can ask one panelist for a hint, but on only one question, so make sure you choose wisely. Are you ready to play?
Yep, sound good.
All right, here is your first one. Who showed up to his UFC 205 press conference and took his opponent's belt over to his table and said, "Sorry, I'm effing late"? Was it A, Conor McGregor, B, Eddie Alvarez, or C, Nate Diaz?
I'm going to go with Conor McGregor.
Yes, that is correct. Conor McGregor. Very soft-spoken man. Doesn't say much. Very short stature. Doesn't.
You didn't say it with the accent, Baxter. Try and say it with the
Sorry,
accent.
I'm effing late. It's hard to, when you have to, beep out half the word, it doesn't come out as good, I guess. You can't really behind it.
You don't have the umph.
I don't, I guess.
All right, next question. Which NBA player just claimed this week that he was the best player in the NBA? Was it A, Russell Westbrook, B, James Harden, or C, Derrick Rose?
And you do have a hint if you want to use it, Tommy, just so you're aware. You don't have to, but you have it available.
Just what I said, too. I'm going to try and go with James Harden.
Yes, that is correct. Nicely done. James Harden. Is he really, though? I mean, I feel like there's players that weren't even in those 3 options that I think might be a little bit better. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. No?
Hey, Derrick Rose is the best player in the hospital, so...
Those ER pickup teams always pick Derek first. Be like, Derek, man, we got you. The wheelchair basketball leagues, they love him. All right, here is your next one. Which NFL team started 5-0 and has since, as of today, gone 0-4? Is it A, the Denver Broncos, B, the Kansas City Chiefs, or C, the Minnesota Vikings?
I'm going to go with C, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, that is correct. For our listening audience, please do not be confused that I am wearing Vikings purple. Wait. Either way, it just goes with the outfit, okay? I do not support the Minnesota Vikings. I support teams that are even better at collapsing, like the Green Bay Packers. Next question.
Which undefeated NBA team fell this week with their first loss? Was it A, the Golden State Warriors, B, the Oklahoma City Thunder, or C, the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That is incorrect. No, it was actually the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got off to a 6-0 start and then finally dropped a game, but still a long way to go. People are even saying don't freak out too badly about the Golden State Warriors, even though they've lost a couple games to get the season going. It's a long NBA season. Steph Curry is still really, really good. All right, here is your next one. This week on First Take's Best Debater competition, Stephen A. Smith said that who was the best owner in the NFL? Is it A, Roger Kraft, B, Jerry Jones, or C, John Elway?
I'm wanting to say Jerry Jones.
Okay, that would be correct. Yes, Jerry Jones. Dan, I would love to hear your thoughts. You're shaking your head like that's wrong for some reason.
Jerry Jones there may be no owner in the NFL who has more power than Jerry Jones,
Correct.
But if you want to know why the NFL has headed in the direction that it's headed, Jerry Jones is a good place to start. So.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Roger Kraft, I think, has done a fairly good job. John Elway's not the owner of the Broncos. He's the GM, though, right?
Right, yeah.
But
Robert Kraft's been good, but Jerry Jones has been entirely too much about the business of the NFL and not enough about the effectiveness and play of the NFL. And as a result, he was the main figure behind the Rams moving from St. Louis to Los Angeles. He's the one that's encouraging the Raiders to move to Las Vegas.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, and that's been the problem with the NFL. Too much about money, not enough about the quality of the product.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. All right, Tommy, here's your final question.
Steph Curry is known for making threes. This last week, he set the record for the amount of them in a game. How many did he make? Was it A, 17, B, 13, or C, 14?
Oh, I remember this. Would I be able to get a hint?
You do, yes. Do you want to talk to James, Tanner, or Dan for your hint?
I'll go Tanner.
Tanner, all right, Tanner. How can you help out Tommy?
Well, Tommy, let me just say it is probably not your luckiest number.
That's right. I remembered correctly. I wanted to use Lifeline just in case. I'm going to go with 13.
Yes, that is correct. Game Master Scheibe, how did Tommy do on our game?
Tommy got 5 out of 6 correct. He's a winner.
Hey, nicely done. Thanks so much for playing, Tommy.
And Tanner gets an additional point for giving that successful hint.
Hey, way to go, Tanner.
My wallet was feeling a little thin.
Wait, we give them singles for correct points?
Don't look at me.
That kind of show.
Oh, the moment you've all been waiting for is almost here. Stick around and listen to our panelists duke it out in the Name 5 Panelist Showdown coming up right after the break. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. Hello all, I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master here at What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. Thanks for listening in. I may not know much about sports, but what I do know about are our social media pages. Check us out on Facebook at What's the Score, or Twitter and Instagram at WTS Sports Quiz. Thanks very much for listening.
Hey everybody, just want to take a quick minute to remind you to go and check out our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com. It has all the latest information about WTS and everything that's going on. Find out more information about Game Master Scheibe. Check out the blog section to see what our latest articles are, or even go and check out our panelist leaderboard, our archive, and all the numerous other things that you can find by visiting us at WTS Sports Quiz. And if you want to be a contestant, why not fill out our contact form or our contestant form and let us know if you want to be a part of our terrific show today. Thanks so much for listening, and let's get back to the action.
Hello and welcome back. Thanks for listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe. Our panelists have been getting ready for their final showdown. While they do, here's your host at the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. We've got a great show for you today, a very exciting one as always, and we are thrilled to be moving along with the show as well. We had a new panelist as well. Tanner's done all right, Game Master Scheibe, wouldn't you say? He's hung in there.
Yeah.
But
Still alive.
Now is the real test, Game Master Scheibe. What time is it?
It's time for the Name 5 Panelist Showdown. Our panelists will be given 4 topics in which they will have 10 seconds to name 5 people, teams, places, or things related to the sports world. Each panelist will have the same category, however, they cannot repeat answers. 1 point is awarded for each correct answer.
Game Master Scheibe, can you give us the scores, please?
I can. It's a very close game. Tanner's in third with 2 points, and Dan and James are tied with 3.
Oh, all right. So, Tanner, you will be leading us off. Our category for round number 1, you'll be naming 5 NHL teams. 10 seconds, and begin.
Buffalo Sabres, Dallas Stars, Minnesota Wild, LA Kings, Toronto Maple Leafs.
There you go.
Is
All
that
we need
5?
is 5. Yeah, nicely done. We applaud the Fivers. Well done. All right, James, over to you. 10 seconds, and begin.
Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks, New York Rangers, New York Islanders, and the St. Louis Blues.
There you go. He got 5 as well. Off to a roaring start. All right, Dan, 10 seconds, and go.
Let's see here. San Jose Sharks, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers, the Capitals, and the Coyotes.
There you go. Yes, he also got 5. Now, was it the Phoenix or the Arizona Coyotes?
Now Arizona.
Ah, there we go. I think they don't even fully know. All right, James, we'll start with you for round number 2. You'll be naming 5 retired NFL players. Okay, simple enough.
Absolutely.
10 seconds, and begin.
Jim Kelly, Emmett Smith, Troy Aikman, Brett Favre, Shannon Sharp.
There you go. We got 5 again. Now, are you sure Brett Favre is retired?
For now.
Okay, we could still come back. Cleveland still needs a quarterback. Maybe Brett will come out. All right, Dan, over to you. 10 seconds, and begin.
Y.A. Tittle, Bart Starr, Johnny Blood McNally, Don Hudson, and Ray Nitschke.
Who was the first one that you said?
Y.A. Tittle, he was a quarterback. Your producer is nodding at you. Take my word for it. I can say Fran Tarkington, too.
Yes, there you go. I'll take it. 5 again.
Yes, it's appropriate to say it was the actual name of the guy.
Like, whoa, hey.
You were so excited to be able to say that.
All right, Tanner. 10 seconds, and go.
Ed Reed, Drew Bledsoe, Tim Couch, wide right Scott Norwood, and the new Hall of Fame elect Andre Reed.
Yes, there you go. Nicely done. Everybody's perfect so far, Game Master Scheibe. Dan, we'll start with you this third round. You'll be naming 5 basketball terms. Okay, so terms related to the sport of basketball. 10 seconds, and begin.
Dribbling, lane, the three-point line, timeout, and scorer's table.
There you go. Yes, you got 5. Nicely done. All right, Tanner, over to you. 10 seconds, and go.
Personal foul, technical foul, free throw, substitution, and can I say, like, assistant coach? Is that a thing?
Yeah, technically.
All right.
Yeah, they use them in the basketball world, so. All right, James. 10 seconds, basketball terms, and begin.
Key, block, traveling, double dribble, and center.
There you go. Look at that. Wow. Everybody's perfect. Game Master Scheibe, as we head into the final round, what are the scores?
Tanner's in third with 17 points, and Dan and James are tied with 18.
How interesting. Now, the way our final round works is you will have 10 seconds to name as many of, not just 5, all right? Tanner, you will be going first because you are in last place. You'll be naming as many teams as you can, pro teams with yellow or gold in their color scheme. 10 seconds, and begin.
Nashville Predators, Golden State Warriors, Milwaukee Brewers have a little bit. Oh, man, this is where I blow up.
3. He got 3. No big
geez.
deal. Flip a coin. Who's going next to break it?
James.
James. All right. That's who I was hoping it would be. It landed in the middle, and then it fell finally.
know.
All right, James. 10 seconds. As many as you can. Pro teams with yellow or gold in their colors. And go. Jacksonville
Jaguars, Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh Pirates. That's
all right, we got 4. So, what is Dan looking at, Game Master Scheibe?
Dan needs 4 to tie and 5 to win.
All right, Dan, 10 seconds, and go.
The LA Kings, the Boston Bruins, the Kansas City Royals have some gold.
Yep.
The Arizona Cardinals have yellow in their beak.
That is true. Yeah. Ooh. So, what happens now?
Well, now we have to do a tiebreaker.
How interesting
between Dan and James.
Wow, isn't that fun? Tanner, we'll get back to you in a moment.
I'll be here.
All right. So, since James got to go first and we broke it before, Dan will go first this time. Dan, you will be naming as many as you can NFL teams. Okay, 10 seconds and go.
Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars, Washington Redskins, New York Jets, New York Giants, New England Patriots, Seattle Seahawks.
11 total for Dan. So, James, you have to get a minimum of 12. You cannot tie. There's still enough teams out there mathematically.
I'm aware.
I was counting. I got it.
They're out there. I don't know if they're in here.
There.
But they're
Exactly. All right, here we go. 10 seconds and go.
The Los Angeles Rams, the Houston Texans, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers, the Atlanta Falcons.
Six total. All right, so Game Master Scheibe, what are the final scores this week?
The final scores are Tanner in third with 20 points, James in second with 28, and Dan's the big winner with 33 points.
Hey! The great Pfeifini continues to roll on. Nicely done, Dan. How do you feel? I think you lost last time you were on the show, didn't you? Or are you okay? Maybe not. That was 2 shows ago when you lost to Yendemars. You've been on since then.
A few times around. Yeah, when you get to that tiebreaker, going first is such a big advantage. So, hey, James, great job on your first time through. Really give you a lot of credit. That was quite the competition there. And Tanner, you might have won the Northwoods League with the Wisconsin Rapids Raptors this year.
There it is.
But had to kind of set you down today. But hey, thanks for coming on. And there you go. Hey. Lakeshore Chinooks 2013. There you go.
There you go. You didn't wear the championship ring today.
I didn't. No, it's still sitting in the car. I forgot about it.
It's in the car. Somebody go find Dan Pfeiffer's car. Find it. Tanner, your first time on the show. What'd you make of your first What's the Score experience, sir?
My legs are tired. I clearly need to eat before I come into the show next time. There's plenty of water, which is a good thing, so I'm not going to go
make
thirsty.
You well hydrated.
I appreciate that. In Double Jeopardy, I think I'm going to shine. I think I have a chance to come back and beat Dan. Wait a minute.
Do you want to tell him the show's over, or should I, Game Master?
You can do that.
Well, either way, though, Tanner, we appreciate you coming on the show this week.
James,
second time on the show, your first quote-unquote normal show. You were on a theme show last time the World Series won, but your first real show in the bag, what'd you make of it?
I had a blast as always. If I'm going to get schooled like that, I'm glad it's by Dan, because he's a good guy to get schooled by, I guess.
All right. Fair enough.
Congratulations, Dan.
I did get a 33 on my ACT once upon a time, but I don't know.
There it is. What's the Score has been a production of Attention Era Media. A special thanks to our contestants and studio audience here at the Attention Era Media Studios.
Our panelists this week have been James Korsmo, Dan Pfeiffer, and Tanner Burke.
Our social media producer is Tony Larson. Our social media staff is comprised of Emily Heffler and Christian Gill. Our theme was composed by Danny Hoffenstein. Our show producers were David Bobke and Caleb Pearson. And the executive director of What's the Score is Liz Colburn.
I've been your game master, Josh Scheibe.
And I've been your host, Baxter Colburn. Thanks so much for listening in. We hope you have a great Thanksgiving when you join us next time on What's the Score.